Yeah.
Call the meeting to order. Roll call, please, Terry.
Legislator Brennan has been excused. Chartrand,
Here.
Dahlhoff,
Here.
Hathaway,
Here.
King,
Here.
Halser,
Here.
Mowerhand, Mosher.
Here.
Legislator Pepper has been excused. Tabo.
Here. Legislator Hathaway, would you please lead us in the invocation?
Father, we always thank you for the blessings you bestow upon us. We don't always acknowledge them, but we do appreciate them. And we can't help but appreciate this weather that you've given it to us this fall. We know it's coming, but they can't take this away from us, and we appreciate it. Father, with the holidays just around the corner, we know it's a wonderful time for a lot of people, but a very difficult time for many others. And I wish you'd think about them and reach down and touch those people that have depression issues through the holidays and help them through it. And if we see signs of it, have us help them too. Could we have a moment of silence for those that passed since the last meeting, please? Thank you. Amen.
Pledge to the flag. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone should have got a copy of the November 3rd meeting. Does anyone have any changes or corrections? If not, they stand approved. Report of the Rules and Legislation Committee for Rule 6. Terry?
The report of the Rules and Legislations Committee recommends to immediate action by the board on all resolutions presented.
Motion moved by Andrea, second by Brian. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. We go on to privilege of the floor. Does anyone have any comment from the floor at this time? Okay, presentation of communications and notices. Terry?
We have a thank you letter from the family of Robert Archer. Thank you sincerely for sharing our sorrow. Your kindness is deeply appreciated and will always be remembered. We also have a resolution from the Yates County Legislature urging the governor and legislature to gradually restore the 50-50 state-county sharing for the safety net program and to increase shelter grant reimbursements to counties. That concludes.
Thank you, Terry. Reports of county officers and departments.
The 2016 tentative county budget has been submitted.
Okay. Comments at this time, Liz?
When do you want to go?
Now's fine.
Here we go. Legislators enclosed for your review and consideration is the proposed 2016 budget for Lewis County. First, I'd like to thank the legislators and especially the Ways and Means Committee and the Lewis County department heads and their teams for their hard work, thoughtful discussions that we've had over the past several weeks and months in preparation for creating the 2016 budget. Collaboration and discussion are key to a successful product, not only for county government, but for the communities we are entrusted to serve. I would especially like to thank Patty O'Brien, the county treasurer, whose steady guidance, insightful ideas, and tireless work ethic make this budget manageable and almost pleasant. I'm happy to report the results of the tentative budget for 2016. We will again have a decrease in the tax rate per 1,000 from 7.58 to 7.44. We will have a decrease in the use of fund balance from 1.3 million to 920,000. And we will stay under the mandated tax cap by $27,336. Because our government efficiency plan, which 23 of our 26 municipalities participated in, was approved by New York State several weeks ago, eligible taxpayers will receive additional income tax rebates. Across New York State, many counties are rating their fund balance or increasing taxes. We are not. This past year, we put in place a process for every department to review their budgets every month with their legislative committees. This has increased accountability for results and kept everyone more informed about cost drivers and financial results. This is a fiscally responsible budget with no reduction in county services. I'll now speak to the county budget for the purposes of this discussion. However, I am excluding the Lewis County General Hospital. The Board of Managers approved the hospital's budget at their November 2nd meeting. The hospital is an EBF, or an enterprise business fund. Their budget is expected to be a net zero, where revenues equal expenses. The budget approved by the Board of Managers and submitted to the county includes a 3.2% increase from $67.63 million to $69.79 million. The county's budget includes the annual $2.8 million subsidy to the hospital. Moving on to the county budget, I'd just like to first review some global assumptions that the 2016 budget was built upon. Number one, we targeted that our general fund balance would be $11 million, or approximately 10% of our total hospital and county budget. We wanted to maintain our A+ credit rating, maintain county service levels, have no increase in fees for county services, lower the use of fund balance to $500,000 or less within the next 5 years to account for the loss of windmill money in December of 2021, and continue to set aside money for a highway garage on the layaway plan. An overview summary of where we came in. While revenues are less year over year, expenses fell further, leaving a net gain year over year of $118,296. In addition, the recommendation is to continue to reduce the county's use of fund balance as a way to lower taxes and utilize $920,000 for a net total tax levy of $15.1 million. If you have the document in front of you, which will be available on the website today, I'd just like to walk through the revenue and expense numbers, 15 versus 16. Total revenues for the 2016 tentative budget are $27,921,646. Revenues are lower year over year by $134,213. Total appropriations or expenses for the 2016 tentative budget are $43,964,478. However, expenses are also less by $252,500. The net balance is $118,296 ahead of last year. If you take the applied fund balance of $920,000, that lowers the real property tax or the tax levy to $15,122,832. The taxable value as of 10/26/15 would increase by $70.6 million, or 3.65%, getting us to a county tax rate per 1,000 of 7.44. And I'd just like to pause for a minute. I think a lot of people get a bit confused in the news sometimes about general fund and fund balance, and just so everybody attempts to understand what's going on. When we look at our revenues and subtract our expenses, you come out with a deficit number that has to be raised by taxes. What we're seeing across New York State is because of the tax cap, many municipalities are dipping into their general fund to basically lower the tax burden on their citizens. Well-intentioned, but I would argue not good fiscal policy. We're in a very good position where we can keep our general fund at $11 million and at the same time reduce our need to use money from that fund balance. And the intent is to continue to reduce that till we get to zero or certainly substantially below $500,000. The major increases in expenses year over year were a $400,000 increase in healthcare costs. The second highest was a contractual increase of 2% wage increase of $356,899. Offsetting the increases were reductions in funding requirements for the New York State retirement system of $420,000, staff reductions that equal $266,000, plus we renegotiated numerous contracts this year, for example, in insurance, copiers, phone systems, etc., that contributed over $115,000 year over year. The biggest risk I see in the county budget, well, I preface that by saying the county budget always has risk because a lot of the programs that we serve have a lot of variables in them. Things like foster care and early intervention services or pre-K are highly variable depending on the number of children we're serving. I would say our focus this year has been based on history. The numbers are conservative, but they are in line with what we have seen in prior years. And because we have put in place the monthly review process with the departments, should we run into any spikes in any of these areas, we will have early warnings with the potential to make adjustments mid-year if necessary. I will say, however, that the single largest budget risk I see for the county budget for 2016 and beyond is the dramatically rising cost of health care, and specifically retiree health care for ages 55 to 64. The 55 to 64s are the highest consumers of Medicare health care dollars. And while well-intentioned when the county benefits were negotiated, as we know, the landscape for health care has just changed too dramatically to ignore the consequences. We are not on a sustainable path or a fiscally sound path. Lewis County has a steady but aging population that will depend more and more on individuals with fixed incomes. To date, both hospital and the county have engaged in productive discussions with the union leadership, but we have not had any successful movement forward towards solving these problems. It is vital that we work together with the union leadership and our county employees to come to a negotiated solution. Revenues. 77% of the county revenue comes from 3 sources: sales tax, 10.7 million or 38%, state aid, $6.3 million or 23%, and federal aid at 4.5 million or 16%. It is in the 2016 budget, it is recommended that the board approve an increase to the budgeted sales tax by $265,000. That may seem counterintuitive given the media and press regarding lower sales tax throughout the North Country in the past several months. However, Lewis County has historically been very conservative regarding sales tax. In the last 5 years, including this year, on average, Lewis County sales tax has come in at about $980,000 over budget. The detailed revenue breakdown is as follows. Sales tax, as I said, is up $265,000. State aid is up slightly, just under $12,000. Federal aid is down $248,000. Pilots and sales tax are up slightly, $30,000. Fees and charges collected by departments is decreased by $188,000. Sale of forest products, tobacco, settlements, etc. is up $35,000. Interest on deposits and rent is up $16,000. Miscellaneous is down $48,000. Home and community services is down $5,600. Licenses and permits are down $1,800. And fines and forfeitures are down $300, for a net decrease of $134,213. Expenses. 75% of the county's expenses fall into 9 categories of spend. Salaries paid to employees are $12.5 million or 29%. Employee benefits, including retirees, are $6.9 million or 16%. Medicaid payment to New York State is third on the list at just over $5 million or 11%. The IGT, which is the intergovernment transfer payment that Lewis County makes to Lewis County General Hospital, is $2.8 million or 6%. Community service, mental health pass-through programs for NERCL, TLS, and other agencies is approximately $1.8 million or 4%. Pre-K, 1.2 million, or 3%. Foster care, 1.1 million, or 3%. Community college, 800,000, or 2%. And outside agencies such as Cornell Cooperative, Soil and Water, 525,000, or 1%. Headcount year over year, and I measured this from January of 2015 through December of 2016, we will be down a total of 7 positions. Several of those have already taken place in 2015 and will continue into 16. There is one request for an increase and still a net decrease in public health. They're going down 4 positions and are requesting an addition of a population health specialist in mid-year. Our capital accounts are accounts that are reserved for larger projects or set aside money for special purposes, such as the renovations we did for the highway garage, replacement of critical IT infrastructure, PSB renovations. We did a substantial amount of work in 2015, which has set us up well for 2016 to be more of a routine maintenance year with no other major projects requiring funding. Of particular note, after years of planning and project implementation, the emergency radio project will be going live next week. Kudos to Jerry and his team. This $11 million project will come in under budget. $6 million was covered by grant money. The remaining $5 million was expected to be debt carried by the county due to prudent management of the project. The $5 million county liability is now at $2.9 million. Included in the budget in 2016 are several priority projects. The capital account for buildings, which includes the DSS building, the courthouse, the highway, and the public safety building. Last year we funded that at $166,000. As I said, because we've done quite a bit of the work we needed to on those buildings, we've dropped that to $66,000, giving the funded total balance of $675,000. Capital data processing, as you know, Adam and his team did a fantastic job this year pulling together a whole new server platform for the county. We spent a considerable amount of money. A lot of it was covered by grants. However, this year there's not an additional investment that we're looking for. The focus in 2016 will be on leveraging the new technologies that we've got in place, training people to use the software, and really leveraging the new technology. We do have $529,000 set aside for new vehicles. $200,000 of that is for the highways department, and there's a list of other requests which includes 2 replacement cars each for the sheriff's office and for DSS, and there are several others that I did not include in there. The capital highway, the other capital fund for highways, we've been talking for several years and funding a new highway garage. Again, I think to the kudos of the county, we're not building things ahead of having the money to do it. What we're doing is setting aside an additional $200,000. So we're building the fund towards the idea of building a new highway garage in the future. That fund, as I said, will get an additional $200,000 this year, bringing the total to $555,000. And the last, on the radio project, this is how we are funding the account that's going to pay down the debt. The current ban on the radio project is $2.9 million. The funding in this account is exclusively to pay down the debt, and we hope to have that paid down in the next couple of years. The debt for the county is quite manageable. We've been careful not to acquire debt that we can't afford to pay for. The county's current debt obligations are first for the courthouse. That's $8.3 million outstanding. There are principal payments in 2016 of $265,000 and interest payments of $357,000. The interest rate on that loan is 4%. We have already started the process of filing for a refinancing for the county courthouse, and we expect to see a significant improvement in 2016, which should take place in 2017, for us to reduce our interest on that loan. As I also said, the radio system, that is not a bond, it's a ban, so it is renewable on an annual basis, and we've done quite well in terms of obviously the interest rate we're paying on that. No county budget in New York State would be complete without a discussion of state mandates. These are the 9 programs that New York State requires counties to fund. In March of this year, the Pew Charitable Trust Foundation showed that New York State gets more than 15% of its revenue from local government to fund and implement services. The average for the other 49 remaining states is 0.8%. By a factor of nearly 20 times, New York State relies more than any other state on local government revenues to support state services and public policy goals. When elected representatives can pass laws and add regulations to the books that they don't have to pay for or figure out how to fund, there is no accountability for spending. 78 cents of every Lewis County tax bill goes directly to New York State for funding the following programs: indigent defense, $391,000; probation, I'll just read off the county shares: probation, $415,000; pre-K, $514,000; early intervention, $128,000; Medicaid, $5,050,000; New York State pension, $1,975,000; foster care, $230,000; safety net, $412,000; youth detention, $2,000; IGT, $2.8 million, for a total of $11.9 million. The intent of the programs is quite good. The fiscal discipline and process for controlling costs in Albany needs some work and attention. In summary, Mr. Chairman and legislators, the 2016 Lewis County budget is a fiscally responsible budget without reducing services or increasing fees. The county will remain under the tax cap without raiding the fund balance. On a home with a taxable value of $100,000, the county tax bill reduced from $758 to $745. The 2016 Lewis County budget is respectfully submitted for public comment and approval. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Liz. Do you want to take a break before you go over this line by line? Seriously, I'm sure I can speak for everyone here in stating that how pleased we are with how you've completed this budget, Liz. And of course, that goes without saying, we thank Patty and the Ways and Means Committee as well. But it's a terrific job when we look around us and see all the problems other counties are having and how they still haven't yet completed their budgets, and what we've accomplished here. It gives us a lot to be proud of, and I really thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Bill, comment?
Yes, I'd like to add a few comments to what Liz said. During our budget discussions, something that Jerry and Dick were talking about caused me to do a little research, and they kind of prompted me to think about a few things. So I went back for the last 10 years, and 10 years ago, our tax rate was $8.67. This year, it's 7.44. So we dropped the tax rate about 14% over the 10 years. The average tax rate over the 10 years was $7.38, and again, this year, it's $7.44. So we've been there have been ups and downs, obviously, but we've been remarkably consistent. Probably a better picture would be a 4-year look back, and the couple of significant things on that. The 4-year average tax rate is $7.45 for the last 4 years, and we're at $7.44 this year. So again, that's amazingly consistent. The thing that I like best is 4 years ago, we used $2,244,187 of fund balance to lower the levy. This year, we're using $920,000. So we've dropped the fund balance use $1,324,187, which is very significant. That's like 144%. And while doing that, we've increased our fund balance this year to the state recommended $11 million. So not only have we lowered the use, we increased what we're keeping for a rainy day. So all that being said, I think that that the bottom line of what I'm trying to project here is the how consistently conservative and accurate we've been in our budgeting over the years. And I would have to add on a personal note, Charlie Fanning and I used to argue about who spent the less money, and poor Charlie's not with us now, so I take the crown. But I'm afraid that I have to pass that on to Liz and Patty, because without them keeping track of all this and monitoring it as closely as they do, then we wouldn't be in the shape we are going into the future. And I just really want to acknowledge all the efforts that Liz and Patty have put forth on this, and the Board of Legislators for acknowledging that we have to really keep our eye on things and doing it. Thank you.
Thank you, Phil. Any other comments from legislators? Okay, we go to reports of standing committees. Does any legislators have any reports at this meeting? Phil?
Real quickly, since our last meeting, we met again to discuss our positions on the solar PPA, and we solidified them, and in the next day or two, the final negotiations should be happening. So we hopefully will have something to present on the 19th.
Very good. Brian, anything? Jerry? Larry? Greg? Dick?
Not at this time.
Andrew? Okay. Liz, anything further? Patty? Okay, I got just a couple notes. We are meeting the 19th at 5 o'clock, but during the day there's an inter-county meeting out in Johnstown. And I do have a conflict myself that morning, so if any legislator would be interested in going, you could contact me. I particularly would like to see a couple of resolutions introduced out there. One was our resolution on indigent defense, asking the state to take it over, and the other one was the EPA regulations regarding the Clean Water Act. I did talk to Craig Brennan this morning, and he showed me interest in going, but if anybody else could confirm that they would be able to go, appreciate it. The other item, looking ahead, we typically have in past years have had a legislators' Christmas party where we recognize our retiring legislators. I won't be joining that retiring list this year, but anyhow, we do have Neil Pepper recognized. I'm wondering if you would all be able to make the dinner after our final meeting on December 22nd. If you don't care to, we could always join the Christmas party that's going to be here. Tentatively, they're talking the 18th. That's what we did last year. But personally, since we do have a retiring legislator, if we have the support of legislators, I'd like to see us go out for lunch in either Ridgeville or Tuckville Vineyards. Does that sound?
That's the 22nd?
Yeah. And we have a 10 a.m. meeting that day. Take care of final business.
I think we're on the 19th.
It's December 22nd, you're saying, right?
Yeah, December 22nd.
Yeah, December 22nd will be your last meeting, yes.
Like I
10
said,
a.m. But traditionally, we've always gone out to lunch thereafter. But last year, it was all changed because we had the special event and all the donations to the Renee Byer Memorial Fund. And we're gonna do that again this year on the December 18th. Mike's question is, do you want to defer, have everything on the 18th with that luncheon, or do you want to set up a separate luncheon after the December 22nd last meeting?
Any preferences?
22nd looks best for me.
Okay, that's typically where we bring our spouses, significant other. Any objections? Okay, let's shoot for the 22nd with a luncheon then. We move on to resolutions.
Resolution to set the public hearing on the 2016 tentative Lewis County budget for November 19 at 5 p.m.
Moved by Jerry, second by Phil. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
Appointing a member to the Region 6 Fish and Wildlife Management Board, John Jones.
Moved by Larry, second by Ryan. Discussion. All in favor of the resolution say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried.
And to amend the sick leave bank policy.
Moved by Brian, second by Greg. Discussion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Does anyone have any other business before we do a short executive session? Okay, I ask for a motion to go into executive session to discuss contractual issues. Moved by Larry, second by Brian. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session.